Should you buy a house right now? Well, according to a new article just posted a few days ago, if you were to buy a home right now, it would take you a whopping 13.5 years in order to make a profit after selling your house. So in today's video, I'm going to share all the details. And by the way, if you guys appreciate these timely housing market updates and also these articles I cover on my YouTube channel, then I invite you to subscribe to this channel right now if you haven't done so, because of course I post frequent housing market updates so you guys can make a more informed decision about whether to buy or sell a house right now. With that said, thank you so much for doing that. Let's begin today's video. This was published by Zillow a few days ago. If you were to buy a house, it's going to take you 13.5 years to profit after selling your house. It says the cost of buying a home has soared over the past several years, with home values near record highs. Now, speaking of that, of course, it varies widely depending on the area you live in, of course, but looking on a national level, looking at Redfin's data center here, the median home sold price is at $370,000 right now. The all-time record highs was set during the 4 weeks ended June 19th last year, when at that time, the median sold price was $385,000. So this means that home values, or I should say, this means that home sold prices are only down by 4% from last year's highs, or only down by about $15,000. Now, having said that, when talking about home sold prices being at high levels right now, this is really what our market was like approximately 1 to 2 months ago when the home buyer got their offer accepted from the home seller. So this is very much a lagging indication of a U.S. housing market. So of course, I'll definitely keep you posted with the latest developments because I would expect home prices to fall for the remainder of the year due to seasonality, but also due to the fact that rates have been at or above 6.8% ever since May this year and have been hovering around over 7.5% for quite some time. In any case, let's get back to this report here. It says mortgage rates are higher than they've been in over about 20 years. So rates as of Monday increased to 7.5% for an average 30-year fix for people with exceptional credit, according to the Mortgage News Daily. About 1 week ago, or about 2 weeks ago, we were looking at 8% rates, but on Friday, rates were around 7.38%. So rates have been fluctuating greatly here. In any case, it says new home buyers can expect to spend approximately 13.5 years in their house before they should be able to sell for a profit over the purchase, including the payment of mortgage interest and sales costs when you're selling your house. So speaking of that, here is their methodology regarding this. It says this analysis assumed 3% closing costs at purchase. So in other words, when you buy a house, they're assuming your closing costs are going to be about 3% of your purchase price. So you're buying a $500,000 home, your closing costs under this assumption here would be around $15,000. Also, they're assuming 1% home maintenance fees. If you need to replace your roof, replace your hot water heater, doing other maintenance of your houses, and also an additional 6% in closing costs and agent fees at the time of sale, and include all mortgage interest paid over the life of the loan here as well. Home values are assumed at a growth rate of Zillow's home value forecast for the first year, then transition to long-run average home value growth until the end of the mortgage term. So long-term averages for home values is in the range of 3 to 5%. So that's what they're assuming here. And also, of course, actual costs and market conditions, of course, can vary greatly. Now, here's something that's wild here because they look at the difference in the down payment, how that compares to the time frame when you actually can earn a profit based on their assumptions here. It says Zillow's analysis took into account typical home values and forecasted home value increases based on Zillow's forecasts. They also, of course, made assumptions regarding closing costs, agent fees, etc. And of course, this varies by the amount of your down payment. So if you put down a lower down payment, then your chances of getting a profit later on extends. If you put more down, let's just say 20% down, it's going to take you about 11 years 3 months to make a profit versus a 3% down payment, 13 and a half years to make a profit. So obviously you put more money down for your down payment, you have more equity in your house, and therefore that increases your chance of earning a profit down the road here, right? In this case, it actually shortens your time frame here. So the time it takes to make a profit on a sale of a home purchased today, as of data for July of 2023, also varies greatly depending on the location. Go figure, right? Home values vary by each of the markets here. Here's something I found to be interesting though. It says in markets or in metros with high home values, such as San Jose, California, just south of San Francisco, approximately 7 years, and San Francisco around 7.5 years. So in areas that have high home values, your timeline in order to make a profit actually get shortened. In contrast, in more affordable markets, your timeline in order to earn a profit actually gets extended greatly here. They mentioned this is the reason here. This can be attributed to slower historical growth rate in home values compared to more expensive markets. In contrast, in areas that have high home values, such as San Jose, California, and San Francisco, these metros have a strong history of consistent growth, allowing homeowners to recoup their initial investment in a relatively shorter period of time if home values rise at the same rate they have been increasing, historically speaking. So have a look at this. Nationwide, here are the top 5 markets that would take you the longest to earn a profit. Number 1 in the nation, Cleveland, Ohio. It would take you a whopping 22 years and 10 months in order to profit from the sale of your house. After that was Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 21 years, 6 months. Then we had El Paso, Texas, Akron, Ohio, and Indianapolis, Indiana. In contrast, if you're going to buy a house putting 5% down, here are the areas that have the shortest timelines. San Jose, California, 6 years and 11 months. And then we have San Francisco, California, 7 years and 6 months. San Diego, just over 8 years. Los Angeles at 9 years, and Miami, Florida, 9 years and 1 month. Zillow also mentions as mortgage rates near 8% and home values have been leveling off, it now takes longer to make a profit on a home purchase when considering the cost of interest being paid over the life of the loan here. Still, homeownership offers lasting financial benefits because you can lock in a fixed mortgage payment, unlike renting where costs typically rise each and every year. I have been a homeowner since, 2013-ish, about 10 years. Before that, I remembered when I was a renter and let's just say my lease was becoming due, I was nervous regarding how much my rent was going to be going up, right? Versus owning a house, at least I have the peace of mind that my mortgage payment overall, excluding insurance and property taxes, tends to be fixed, or actually is fixed. So principal and interest payments is fixed over the life of my 30-year fixed rate loan at 2.6%. Versus renting, you can expect your rent to go up each and every year. So at least owning a home, I know I have that peace of mind regarding my payment is not going to increase. And on top of that, in California, we have a cap on the amount of my property taxes that can increase statewide, really, not just me. But we can't have our tax assessed value of our house in California increase more than 2% each and every year. And that tax assessed value is where your property taxes are calculated from. In other areas, such as Texas, for example, your property tax rate, or your property tax value, I should say, increases based on current market conditions. And therefore, your property taxes can increase big time each and every year, especially when home prices are increasing greatly. Whereas in California, my tax assessed value can only increase by 2%. In any case, I'm kind of like rambling here, but I'm really saying that at least this in California and overall for people just buying houses overall in the United States, when looking at your principal and interest payment, that is fixed over the life of your 30-year loan. And therefore, it's a hedge against inflation. So my housing payment of principal and interest will be the same today compared to 30 years from now. Not the same for renting a house. In any case, Buying a house right now is not for everyone though, right? So deciding when to buy or sell a house is a personal choice, and it involves assessing your long-term goals. Now, I want to give you guys some advice regarding should you be buying a house right now. So do not buy a house unless, number one, you have long-term time horizons. In other words, you do not plan to sell your house for at least 7 to 10 plus years. This allows you to ride the ebbs and flows of our US housing market. If you have long-term time horizons, short-term fluctuations in your home value should not matter. Think of it as a retirement fund, such as a IRA, for example. If you don't plan to retire for 10 years, does it really matter if your value of your IRA goes down in the short term? The answer is no, because if you have long-term time horizons, you can ride out any ebbs and flows in the stock market or the housing market as well, or you should be able to. Number two, do not buy a house unless you have a stable job. Number three, do not buy if you do not have an emergency fund of at least 3 to 6 months of your monthly living expenses. Therefore, if you do have an emergency fund and you buy a house, of course, you lose your job, you have the reserves to pay your bills until you find a new job. Also, you have funds to pay for maintenance on your house as well in case something breaks, which tends to happen more often than I want to be at my house. Anyways, number four, a general rule of thumb here, do not overextend yourself with a housing payment that you are not comfortable with. Let me give you an example. Let's just say your lender gives you a pre-qualification to buy a $500,000 home. That's the maximum amount you qualify for. Just because your loan officer qualifies you for a $500,000 home does not mean you have to buy a house that expensive. I would say try to keep your housing payment less than 25% of your gross income. This will make your housing payment more affordable and more comfortable. So for example, if you earn $75,000 per year, you would earn $6,250 per month in gross income. Therefore, if your income is $75,000, my recommendation would be keep your housing payment less than $1,563 per month to keep your payment less than 25% of your gross income. Now, this is my conservative advice though, right? When looking at national trends, as I reported to you guys in my previous video, the payment to income ratio is around 40% right now. So people are, in my opinion, getting a little bit more over leveraged than they should be. So in my opinion, if you guys wanted to buy a house, make sure you have long-term time horizons, stable job, an emergency fund, and of course, do not overextend yourself if you're going to be buying a house right now. And of course, a lot of headwinds are facing home buyers and of course, our US economy as well. So of course, just make sure you have long-term time horizons. And with that said, please leave me a comment below with your thoughts regarding this. Should you be buying a house right now? Leave me a comment below. Hope you guys have an awesome day. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.